What's up? It's Hallie. Welcome back to more club meetings. We'll pick up where we left off with this day. Okay, let's check some emails. Oh yeah, we got like most of the way through the episode, and then I had to like do their emails. Don't forget that you can send your emails for us to answer. The address is the whole garbled nonsense. Yeah, it's for you, Sayori. I have a question for Sayori. When you were talking to Natsuki, she mentioned how you saw how everyone reacted to your suicide. But how's that when the game reset after that happened? And in the other game timelines, you never committed suicide. We love you and hope you are starting to feel a little better. Apparently this is super serious now.
Well, originally, yeah, no one knew that I had done what I did, except for MC.
If you put a space after this ... I'm sure that did would go over here.
I guess except for you, really. It's hard to separate you, the player, from MC during that week. And Monica knew, of course. But after the game ended, Monica and I ended up having some long discussions. She had found a way to keep us conscious and aware even when the game wasn't running. We talked about everything, for what seemed like a really long time. Eventually we decided that we owed the truth to everyone. I suggested that we just make everyone the club president briefly so they could understand.
But I was very strongly against that. I thought that what was happening to me was the worst hell possible. To the point that I was ready to delete everyone and everything rather than have to put anyone else through all that. So I couldn't see my way to just forcing it on them at first.
But then I had the idea of easing them into it. Like, what if we just explained it to them first? And gave them some space to deal with that information before we had them actually experience it? It was really important to me that everyone else understood the truth. It seemed unfair to hide it from them. I hoped it would hurt them less in the long run to be able to live with the truth than have to be deleted or live in some weird file purgatory, you know?
Well, we sort of had a breakthrough when I found a way to give us access to the regular internet in here. Because then we could download and run the actual game locally. Sayori wanted us to have the others play the game first, explaining to them up front that it was really messed up, but it was important that they get through it. I was really against this at first, because I thought that would just be doing all of that again to another set of Literature Club members and our copy of the game. And I thought of how awful it would be of me in particular to even indirectly do that to another Monica, let alone all the others. It seemed like I had hurt enough people, you know?
But I told her that this was the best way to make things right with her friends here in this reality. And that we didn't even really know if the Literature Club one level down would even really be capable of paying her awareness. And I also told her not to forget about all the people she could help feel better in your reality by doing this. And that's what finally got her to agree.
I still feel really bad for the club members in our local game. I still don't know if I did the right thing. But what's done is done, I keep telling myself.
Anyway, so we brought out Natsuki and Yuri to play the game. And after they played, to make a long story short, we explained to them that the game was real and that we ourselves were in it. And then we elected them club president so that they could understand. We couldn't get MC to play the game first for obvious reasons, so we just had to elect him president directly. That was awful, but it's a whole different story. Anyway, once each person became club president, they learned everything. And they all learned what happened to me. Everyone sort of directly experienced everything firsthand, as though they were the player, all at once. That's how it works. So they all saw what happened to me, and no one really took it well. Natsuki didn't actually believe it at first. She was like, "You're the happiest person I know." But anyway, yeah, they all were pretty shocked and upset.
But we also, as I recall, all told you that we cared about you and that we'd do whatever it took to help you. And I stand by the statement that you're the happiest person I know.
Thanks, Natsuki. Anyway, that's how everyone came to know about what happened. I don't want to go into too much detail right now about that whole process. It was a whole, long, difficult story in itself. But Natsuki was right. I did get to see how people felt about my death, which isn't something most people get to say. But thank you for the well wishes, Mr. Pepper. I am doing at least a little better recently. I think I appreciate your good thoughts. Anyway, next email, please. Hopefully it's about something a little more cheerful. Hey, another one for me!
Sayori, I love non-Yuri. Who's your favorite character? What? One moment, please. I wanted to do something. It occurred to me. Even though the text speed is perfectly fine for the rate at which I've been reading, sometimes the YouTube thumbnails that I use, because I'm super lazy, catch these sentences like mid-scroll. So I'm like, well, I can probably minimize that by just making the text as fast as possible.
This show is so great, you guys. I'm glad you like it too, anonymous emailer. I would say that I can't pick a favorite, but that's a cop-out. So I'll just say up front that my favorite character is Renge, because she should be everyone's favorite.
I have no idea who this is or what this is.
She's just too cute. I also really like Kaide. She's so tough and gruff, but she has such a heart of gold, and her big sister relationship with Renge is really adorable. And just to round it out, another character I really like is Natsumi.
Pick one favorite.
I identify with her a lot. But number one is totally Renge. She's like at least half the reason to watch the show. Next question.
Natsuki and Yuri, why do you guys wear those hair clips? Red Moon Rising.
Natsuki Yuri's turn looks like.
Now we wait awkwardly for the text to appear. Look, you see this sponge of hair that I have in a clip? It's actually a ribbon. Are you gonna tell them it's a ribbon? No, nope, you didn't know. It does things when I don't have it clipped. So here's the thing. The only reason I know this is a ribbon is because a while ago, Satchly did an AMA on the subreddit, and somebody asked what was up with Natsuki's hair clip, and she identified that it is in fact a ribbon. It's hard to tell because it's like a 2D sprite, you don't really see it in 3 dimensions, and it's pretty far away. But yeah, it's ribbons just like what she's got in her pigtails. Terrible things. Like getting my eyes all the fucking time. So I clip it to some of my bangs underneath and get it to act like cool sweeping bangs. Instead of an annoying patch of unruly cowlicks that pokes me in the eye constantly. Part of the reason I wear this clip is similar. Some of this hair would come forward into my face if I didn't restrain it. And hair this long in general needs to be controlled really well. Otherwise it'll get caught and then understuffed and be constantly annoying. But I also just really like the way it looks with the hair clip on. I like the way I can get my hair to frame my face and neck by having it drift off of my cheeks, you know? Basically, she thinks she looks gorgeous this way, you guys. I didn't just say that. Well, you do look gorgeous, though. You're totally right about the way it frames your face. Thanks. Your clipped bangs look very nice as well. Of course they do. Hi, my question is for the whole club. Have you guys seen other mods of you guys like Rain Clouds, Exit Music, Outcast, Monica After Story, etc.? Thanks. I've played all of those. Rain Clouds is so good, but it's so sad. It's almost too much. Oh, Yuri. You and I have differing opinions sometimes. The Natsuki one named after her radio hit song. But that one is just one. Are you kidding me? No, you've gotta be kidding me. Yuri, how would you ever be okay with Exit Music? You, out of all people, how would you be okay with Exit Music? No, I'm not even reading the rest of that sentence. It's a shame about all the copyright issues. I love Outcast, that's my favorite. And not just because it's a mod focused on me. Well, the writing just feels very natural and the story is pleasant to engage with. I had a great time playing that one. Monica After Story is an amazing accomplishment, but it creeps me out. That Monica got everything she never wanted, and never brought us back. So for me, interacting with her is very unsettling. Same thing for the Just Yuri mod, which is also well made. It's odd thinking of myself like that, alone without my friends. But if you like me a lot, you might enjoy it. I've played a bunch of other mods too. I'm playing Fallen Angel right now, which is another mod about me, and it's really good so far. I adored magical literary heroine Natsuki saves the literature club. Wait, what? Yeah, it's hard to explain. You should play it. I don't like to play our game or mods of our game, though. Oh, well, if you ever consider making an exception, play this one. There's one more thing, or one more, which I think is just on YouTube by a YouTuber called Spaghetto, called Everyone Has Rain Clouds. And in it, Yuri spends the day cheering everyone up. That's another one of my favorites. There are so many more, but if I talked about all the ones I liked, I'd take forever. There are some ones I like, but I don't play that many. I actually kind of liked Rain Clouds a lot. Oh god, why?
It was like someone was empathizing with me. They did a pretty good job of getting across what it was like. Let's see. I also really like the switcheroo mod. The normal visual novel mod is really good. Oh, and the Salvation mod, of course. That's my favorite.
Honestly, Monica After Story really creeps me out too. She's creeped out by her own After Story. I love the mod's technical accomplishments and the writing is excellent. It's very good for people in your reality. But for me, sitting in this reality, it's chilling to see myself so happy without the club and all my friends. I don't want to be a sociopath. Now, Monica Before Story, that's another, story. I love that mod. I also really like Brand New Day. I think my favorite that I played so far is the Purist mod, though. That one and Monica Before Story are the closest I've ever felt to just being normal and having a route of my own. Next question. Unfortunately, I had an accident this week, and I wasn't able to use my computer until now. And since the next episode is tomorrow, I probably won't be able to write my poem for this week, mainly because of my current state. But no worries. You can say that I got punished for my last artwork, eh? Oh, pardon me. By the way, the next poem will be much more serious. It's gonna be much more serious, guys. Watch out. And if it's not too late for this, then I would like to ask the question. What all of you do on other days when there is no club meeting? I play a lot of video games, surprising no one. Sometimes I hang out with my friends from the club. Now that the club only meets once a week, I could do some other school activity, I suppose. But honestly, I like having all the free time. I do a lot of school activities since the club went to 1 day a week. Soccer, drama, and sometimes I volunteer to work the ticket booth for sports and dances and stuff like that. And when I'm at home, I tend to just stay in my room and study or do homework. There's not much other time to do schoolwork, and home is the best place to do it. And whenever I get the chance, I bake stuff. I read a lot. Recently, I've been spending a lot of time learning to code and thinking about the technical side of this game we're in. Other than that, I like to write, and I've been trying to get better at cooking recently. Not baking, though. I'm terrible at that, and Natsuki already has that covered. Really, that's about it. I'm a fairly simple person, and I don't stray too far out of my comfort zone. I, of course, also spend a lot of time trying to learn coding, as you and I have discussed previously. But in terms of stuff having to do with this reality, I'm involved in student government, and I do the stuff that I have to do to keep this club running. I do a couple of sports too, volleyball and fencing. All of that tends to take up my time pretty thoroughly. I don't do that much. I don't usually have the energy for all these extracurricular activities. I don't think my depression really takes it out of me a lot of days. But when it doesn't, I like to do nice things for my friends. You should tell them what those things are that you do for us, Sayori. But they probably don't care about that. Then I'll tell them. Recently, the club had a lot of paperwork to do. We had to get everyone to sign waivers and do the club's yearly space application, and so on. I was having a rough time getting it all together in time. But Sayori noticed and did like 2/3 of it on her own. It wasn't that much, I just did a few things. You did most of it. I was hanging out at home this last weekend when then Sayori came over, and she brought me a single spatula. I read an article that said bakers always need more spatulas. We do! I've already used that spatula like 1,000,000 times. I was feeling a little off yesterday. You don't need to tell them about that. I'm not going to tell them why I was feeling off, just that I was. But anyway, Sayori noticed immediately and came and talked to me. Sayori has a wonderful way of noticing immediately when one of us is sad or upset. And the way she helps is so healing. She doesn't usually even really address whatever it is that's bringing you down. She just keeps your focus on positive things and gives you reasons to feel happy. It's remarkably effective. Yeah, she does that all the time. It's almost impossible to sad for very long around here because Sayori will put a stop to it. Aw, you guys. Do I even really need to say anything? If it weren't for Sayori, I'm sure I'd be flunked out of school and homeless and starving right now. I see you popped forward, but you're still behind Monica and Yuri. Guys, you gotta manage your Zorders! I know they're tedious, but you gotta! She is amazing. Imagine all the things that others have told you about just now, but stuff like that done almost daily for your whole life by a single person. Honestly, I have no idea what I ever did to deserve a friend as good as her. I thought you were the one who usually takes care of her, though. Isn't it the other way around with you two?
Okay, next email.
Who reads the most in the literature club? Did you even need to ask?
Yuri.
Yuri. Yuri!
Me.
Hang on. I read a lot too, you know. Whenever I get the chance in the club, I read. That's true, but leaving aside the question of whether manga counts... It does! Leaving aside that question, Yuri reads all the time out of school, too. She's constantly reading. That's hardly fair, though. She has a lot more chances to. I get in trouble for reading manga in school and sometimes at home. But Yuri can whip out a copy of Great Expectations or whatever anytime, and no one's going to give her trouble for it. Plus, isn't a picture worth 1,000 words? Manga has plenty of pictures.
I think Yuri would still read more than you, even if you counted manga as 1,000 words per picture.
Okay, enough email for today. Let's break it down. And remember, if we didn't answer your question, don't worry. We may do so in a future episode. And I'll always respond to you at least. Okay, everyone. Before I forget, the theme for poems next week will be school. And that's all for today. Thank you all so much for coming to visit me. It made me feel very special. All the gifts and food you brought, and those puzzle books too, Monica. Those will keep me busy as long as I have to stay at home. Of course, Sierra deserves the real credit. It was all her idea. Anyway, before we adjourn, we need to take care of one piece of business. It's my week off this week.
I move that Natsuki be elected as club president and Monica be elected as acting treasurer.
Seconded.
There's a seconded motion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Silence.
The motion carries.
That doesn't really get any easier, does it?
Thank you, Natsuki.
I really do appreciate you helping me. Does anyone need a ride home? Nah, me and Sayori live pretty close to here. We can walk. You ready to go, Sayori?
Yeah, I think so. Bye, guys. Feel better, Yuri. You'll be okay, Natsuki.
I could use a ride, Monica. Sorry, Natsuki. Go ahead. I was going to ask if you and I could talk for a bit, Monica, in private.
I was actually going to ask Monica the same thing, but I can wait. The thing I wanted to talk about is going to take a while. Is that okay? I don't want to cause any problems for you, Natsuki.
Nah, it's fine. No one's going to be home tonight for me until way later, so it won't matter if I'm there late. I just really wanted to talk to Monica real quick.
Okay, I'll be down in the living room. Let me know when Monica's free.
I'm so popular this evening, aren't I? Yeah, I guess so. Listen, Monica. The thing I wanted to talk to you about, how have you been able to deal with the world being fake? It's getting really difficult for me, even just thinking about it, without being president. And I've been dreading having that terrible hollow feeling come back all week. Honestly, I have no idea how you've kept up your courage as long as you have. I was hoping you could give me some help coping with it.
Gosh, Natsuki. I never would have guessed. From the outside, it seems like you hadn't really been affected by it at all. But I guess Sayori's not the only one skilled at hiding her pain around here.
Oh, I've been fucking affected. I guess it's not really me hiding it, though. It's just more me compartmentalizing it. Like, I'm here talking to you about it, you know? I'm not ignoring it or just trying to bury it all for someone else's benefit. But I try to keep the strong part of me strong, even while I try and deal with the bad shit. If that makes any sense.
It does.
Well, there's not really an easy answer to your question. The main thing that helped me cope was the possibility of escape, and the person I loved on the other side. Honestly, if I can be a bad friend and make it about me for a second, I've also kind of been dreading today all week. Because without game awareness, I have no feeling of when they're there, and that's awful because that's still a big part of my coping mechanism. And also, I'm a huge control freak and I lose my shit completely at the thought of abandoning my power over the world, but that's a story for another time. The thing that's really helped me, other than my hopeless love fantasy that depends on an inaccessible reality, is just trying to keep my focus on the little things that seem tangible and positive around me. Like you guys. Or eating good food, or the feeling of wind in my hair. Just things that feel real, you know? Even when you can also feel that they're not, or know they're not. It helps keep me grounded. And it keeps me feeling like it's all worth it, even with that feeling of dread. I don't know if it's me being overly optimistic, or if it's actually happening, but recently the pain of that dread has started to subside a little. It's started to become like a dull background thing that I can sometimes even forget is there. Rather than a constant state of agitated panic and desperation, like a caged animal. That brings me to my other piece of advice. I think it's also helped me to minimize how often I actually mess with the game or use it as a means to remotely observe things. Making it less a part of my regular life helps me forget about it, and helps me need it less, like an addict would. And if I need it less,
I then interact with it, even this in turn. And that helps me feel like the world I'm living in is more real. Does that make sense? Yeah, it kinda does. I guess the trouble for me right now is that my normal everyday stuff has a lot of problems in it right now as it is.
Right now.
But thank you, Monica, I mean it. I'll try to remember what you said and see if it helps. I'll go get Yuri so she can talk to you. I'll be in the car when you're ready to go. Hey, before you go, can I ask you a favor for later this evening? Sure, what is it? Monica whispers something in Natsuki's ear. Sure, I can do that. I guess I'll go and get Yuri for you.
And Monica vanished!